There is a wine ad sitting in the middle of a royal headline this week. It did not arrive by accident. It arrived to the hour. The headlines were about a possible return to Britain. Nothing was confirmed. No plane had landed. And right in the middle of all that noise, a sponsored post went out. Summer invitations, it began. Bring a bottle of the 2024 Marlborough Sauvignon Blanc. And while you are at it, the jam too. The jam that has been sitting in a warehouse. The jam moving quietly toward an expiry date. This is not just tacky timing, it is a clean window into how the whole operation thinks. The ad came first, before the return, before the confirmation, before anyone agreed to anything, not the gossip version of it, the documented version. Tonight we read what that timing actually tells us. Here is why this matters more than the usual royal drama. The same week that Wine Post went out, a poll landed that should worry anyone inside the palace. Support for the monarchy in Britain fell to its lowest level in 33 years. And in the same 7 days, two very different messages went out into the world. One was an essay about love and children. The other was an ad for Sauvignon Blanc. You could not design a sharper contrast if you tried. One side was writing, the other side was selling. And the country was watching both while quietly deciding whether this institution still means anything. That is the real stakes here, not who timed what, but what the timing reveals about who understands the moment and who is only trying to survive it. Stay with me, because the documents this week line up almost too neatly. Tonight we are going through the full picture, the Wine Post and the exact timing of it, the essay Catherine published the very same week, the Ipsos numbers that should be keeping people awake, the work-shy William story, who wrote it and who benefits, and underneath all of it, the question that actually matters: can this institution win back the generation it is losing, while one side keeps turning headlines into product? Let's start with the brand, because the brand explains the timing. Meghan's company is called As Ever. By every available signal, it is built around one idea: the host who makes everything look easy, jam, honey, tea, and now wine. What we know publicly is that the products launch in waves, sell out fast, then go quiet. A confident business does not need a royal headline to move a case of Sauvignon Blanc. It lets the season do the work. Summer comes, people entertain, the wine sells, that is normal. But this post did not lean on the season alone. It leaned on a news cycle. And the news cycle that week was not about wine. It was about whether Harry and Meghan might bring the children back to Britain. Nothing confirmed, no date, no agreement, just a wave of attention building by the hour. Reportedly, the couple have wanted a path back for some time, so the attention was real, and it was theirs to use, and right into the middle of it, the selling began. A brand with a warehouse to clear watched a wave of free attention build and surfed it. That is not a crime, it is a choice. And choices are documents too. And there is a fresh detail the coverage mostly skipped. The same brand is launching a rosé on the 1st of July. So this was not a one-off post. It was the opening of a selling season, which makes the timing less of a coincidence and more of a calendar. You build a wave, you ride it, you launch the next product on its back. What observers keep noting is how rarely the timing misses. The wave of royal attention and the wave of new product keep arriving in the same week. Now let's talk about the post itself, because the wording matters. The message opened with a line about summer invitations arriving all at once. Warm, soft, seasonal. Then, within a sentence or two, it moved to the product, the wine to bring to a party, the gift box for the hostess, the chocolates for the table, and the jam folded in at the end. Read it cold, and it is a competent piece of marketing. Read it in context, and it is something else. The wine was placed, the jam was placed, the whole post was placed into a week when the cameras were already pointed at her name. But the wording is not the most revealing part. The timing is. Now let's bring this back to the contrast, because the same week, the other side did something completely different. On the 19th of June, Catherine published an essay. Not a sponsored post, not a magazine story fed through anonymous friends. An essay in her own name on the website of the early childhood center she founded. It was about love, about children, about what they need in a world that has gone digital. And there was one line that made people stop. She wrote that she was not talking about, in her words, overly sentimental and romantic gestures. She was talking about love that is quiet, built on time and patience. Now hold that line, put it next to the wine post from the same 7 days, the thoughtful gift. The chocolate's perfect for sharing. Not a press release, not a leak, an essay. Did Catherine write that line as a shot at anyone? She would never say so. And honestly, it would be beneath her to confirm it. To be fair, she may not have meant it that way at all. But she chose those exact words in that exact week, knowing exactly where they would land. One side wrote with a pen, the other side posted a price. If Regina Wood is giving you the full picture that other channels skip, take a second and hit the like button. It genuinely helps us reach more people who want the documents, not the spin. Now, let's bring in the number, because the number is the reason all of this matters. The polling company Ipsos published its long-running survey on the monarchy. Support for keeping the monarchy fell to 55%. That is the lowest in the 33 years they have asked. The previous low was 60%. And here is the receipt. The coverage often blurs. Among 18 to 34-year-olds, only 33% want a monarchy. 45% want a republic. Let that sit. Among the young, more want it gone than want it kept. In 2013, just after the Diamond Jubilee, support in that same age group was 74%. If you remember that Jubilee summer, you remember a country that turned out in the millions. 80% backed the crown then. That is the world this audience grew up in. The drop is not a drift, it is a fall. And the man who has watched these numbers longest had a quiet warning attached to them. Gideon Skinner, who runs political research at Ipsos, did not dress it up. He said the monarchy still has real strengths. King Charles and especially Prince William remain personally popular. By the numbers, William sits at 71% satisfaction, but Skinner added the part that matters. Turning this around means convincing young people the institution still has a real role to play. That is not a press photo problem, that is a meaning problem. And meaning is exactly what gets drowned out when every week brings another wine post, another leak, another soap opera headline. The ad came first, the meaning came later, and then there is the story that made me genuinely uneasy this week. A royal author named Norman Baker was given a platform in the Daily Mail to call the future king work shy. The numbers he used are real. In the first part of this year, William did 57 public engagements, Charles did 76, Princess Anne did 100, 57 for William, 76 for Charles, 100 for Anne. Those numbers are accurate. What Baker does with them is the problem. He counts the easily countable things and calls the rest laziness. Baker said, in his words, that if you want a royal to cut a ribbon, you will not get William. He pointed to 2024, when Anne did 474 duties and William did 166. And here's the detail that should stop the whole argument. One of William's absences was a state funeral in America. He did not go. The reason, reportedly, was that it fell on Catherine's birthday. While she was coming through cancer treatment, he chose his wife and children, and that is the evidence being used against him. But the engagement count is not even the real question here. The real question is, who wanted this story out, and why now? Subscribe to Regina Wood and drop a comment below. Do you think judging a future king by ribbon cuttings tells you anything real, or is it the laziest measure in public life? Now, here is a receipt most channels did not bring you. The same circle of critics has gone after William's money, not just his diary. In a Daily Mail piece, the authors Andrew Lowney and Norman Baker noted that William finally revealed his tax. He paid around £7 million last year, but on a Duchy of Cornwall profit of roughly 24 million, a top rate would point to more than 10 million. So where did the gap go? Maybe deductible costs. Maybe not. The point is not the accusation. The point is the timing of all of it. The money story, the work shy story, the poll, the wine post, all landing in the same stretch of days. And here's the part that deserves credit, because forensic does not mean only critical. King Charles and William are going to disclose their personal taxes for the first time. The deputy royal editor at The Telegraph, Victoria Ward, praised the move. It is the right instinct at the right moment. When the young are walking away, secrecy feeds every suspicion. Opening the books is how you answer the 33%. It will not win a headline the way a wedding does, but it is the steady, structural kind of work that slowly tells a skeptic there is something here worth a second look. Here is the part that lands. In 1 week, the heir to the throne was attacked for working too little and taxed too softly, while the woman selling Sauvignon Blanc was praised by her own fans for a thoughtful gesture. A healthy brand sells the jam, a worried one sells the rumor. Now, let's bring this back to the bigger pattern. What observers keep noting is that William reads these situations early. Look at Andrew. William was the one who pushed hardest, soonest for distance. There is a documented sign of how far that has gone. This year, on Father's Day, Princess Eugenie posted a warm tribute to her husband and left her own father out entirely. No photo, no line, nothing. And here is the receipt the quick coverage missed. Eugenie's last public Father's Day tribute to Andrew was in 2020. The silence is 5 years old now. This was not a sudden break. It was the completion of one. William's read on Andrew turned out right. By every available signal, he applies the same read to Harry. Keep the distance. Protect the institution from the soap opera. Because every Sussex headline, every wine post, every rumored return pulls the monarchy back toward exactly the thing that makes a 22-year-old in Birmingham switch off. The people closest to the story keep landing in the same place. Baker, Lowney, the pollsters, the royal desks. They disagree on plenty. They agree the institution is running out of room to get this wrong. To be fair, there is a real counter-argument, and it deserves a fair hearing. A brand posts seasonal content on a seasonal calendar. Summer entertaining content in June is just marketing. Maybe the wine post was scheduled weeks earlier and simply landed in a noisy week by chance. That reading has some merit because brands do plan ahead, and correlation is not a confession. We cannot read anyone's mind, and we should not pretend to. The reason it does not fully hold is the precision. The post did not just appear in summer. It appeared in the exact window when the return rumor peaked, with phrasing about invitations arriving all at once. One coincidence is a coincidence. The pattern of them, week after week, is a strategy. You are allowed to doubt intent. You are not required to ignore timing. So let's go back to where we started. The wine ad is still there. The jam is still moving toward its date. The rumor of a return is still just a rumor, unconfirmed by anyone in a position to confirm it. And in the same 7 days, a princess wrote an essay about quiet love, a poll told the palace it is losing the young, and a future king was called lazy for staying home with a wife recovering from cancer. Put all of that on one page and the story tells itself. One side is building meaning slowly, where the cameras are not. The other side is turning every headline into a checkout link. The institution's whole problem, the thing the 33% number is really about, is the difference between substance and noise. And this week, the noise arrived first. The ad came first, before the return, before the apology that never comes. That is the tell, not the wine, the order of things. So here's the question for you tonight, and I genuinely want your answer. If you lived through the Jubilee summer of 2012, when 80% of the country backed the crown, what changed for you since? Was it Harry and Meghan, or was it something deeper the palace still has not faced? And do you think this generation can be won back, or has the institution lost them for good? Drop your honest take in the comments. The conversation under these videos is sharper than most of what runs in the papers. Subscribe to Regina Woods so you do not miss what comes next. And a like genuinely helps us reach more people who want this kind of analysis. See you in the next one.